Yeah. First and foremost, I told Jared about Lioness. I was like, if you haven't seen Lioness, you have to watch it. He's like, what is it? Is it like Tulsa King? He's like, it's Tulsa King times 5. It's so good. And the way that Taylor has curated this world, and every world he's in is so immersive. And one thing I've noticed about Lioness particularly is like every detail, down to the guns that they use. Because I'll have friends who are military. I'm like, they're using the 6 Spear. I know exactly what and it's not like he's, what a lot of shows do. They use the old school guns that have been used in 30 different movies or shows. It's like up to date, like consistently. So does he have a bunch of writers who are current military, people who are, in the forces, who actually are kind of guiding the ship on the stuff that they should use and the lingo and things like that?
Yeah, no, I mean, he writes everything, but Taylor, he's like an honorary Delta Force dude. Like he hangs out with all of these people, and he has access to all of them. And so he just kind of has been in that world for so long. He just knows it. And if he doesn't know it, someone very close to him does know it, but he writes everything. It's very important for him that we're the latest, greatest, and currently what they're doing. Now, obviously, there's some things that we can't get a hold of just because of A, budget, or B, it's just not out there, right? Yeah. We don't ever want to give any kind of military secrets or anything like that. That would be opposite of what we're trying to do. But he does try to make it as realistic as possible for the actual people that do those jobs.
Wow. Well, and we're talking to Jill Wagner. This is the radio side of it where you introduce the person. You just don't go right into it. Although it's video, so it shows that. But Jill Wagner, and can you tell us the genesis of Lioness? She's on Lioness on Paramount Plus. Her character Bobby, and Bo did tell me about the show, and this is exactly what he told me 2 weeks ago. He said it is the perfect show. It's a show that's perfect in every way.
This is before I knew we were going to talk.
He had no idea, and he's critical. I mean, he's not like, he does. When he says perfect show, I'm like, okay, I got to check it out. And then I'm obsessed with it now. Yes. And your character, Bobby, and I did share with you on the air the other day that I watched the entire show. Then I saw your name on the credits, and I was like, that can't be the same Jill Wagner. I didn't see her.
Certainly doesn't look like the same Jill Wagner.
No. And I love your character and the show. He's right. It is the perfect show. I love it. It's like watching a movie every week. It's so well done. But
you said it perfectly, actually. That is exactly what I have said about it. It is like you're seeing 8 movies. And if you are lucky enough to get to see it in the theater, like we are, the cast and the crew, when Taylor screens it for us or at our premiere, it is a whole different experience that I wish everyone could experience in a theater.
Well, see, shows like Lioness are the reason why I feel like so many blockbuster films are failing, because you can't compete with a 8-10 hour movie that you care so deeply about these characters, because it's cultivated over such a long period of time. Whereas, most films, within 20 minutes, you got to love this character or you're not going to care what happens to him, and so, that's one thing that, your character particularly, it stands out in the best kind of way, because it is kind of like the comedic relief, but like such a badass, like cool, like the most chill person in the room. You're calling the shots, and just like kudos to you, because I mean, what you've been able to do with creating the idea, the concept, and then moving it and working with Taylor, you've done what almost no one in the industry is able to do, by the way. I don't know if you know that or not, but like, it's insane.
I know how hard it is, and I know because I've been hustling for over 20 years, and the hustle has been fun. It's like, no, don't like feel sad for me. Like the hustle has been the beauty of the whole experience. Like what I'm living right now it's a bit, it feels a bit unreal. And I know it's fleeting, and I know it's all going to go away. And so I'm trying to just really, really be present and live in the moment. And especially have my husband with me, who was a huge part of this. So it's our two worlds colliding, his military side and my entertainment side. And it's collided and created this wonderful little, it's almost like a child to us that we get to release into the world. And so I realize how lucky I am. But really, it's if you're ever trying for something like this, you have to remember the path to get there, because my life has been a series of up and downs and a ton of no's. Way more no's than it's been yeses. This has just been a huge yes, and so it's really been, I'm totally blessed, and I realize that it's like catching lightning in a bottle, and it'll probably never happen again. And if it never happens again, I'm really, really okay with that. I mean, I told Taylor, I was like, I can die happy now knowing that it's not anything to do with me in my career. Yes, I get to play Bobby, and that's amazing for me. And she's super cool. And she represents so many women in the military that I respect. But for me, it's about, I have these 2 little girls who are going to grow up as strong women, but are just like me. They're going to hit a roadblock at probably in their late 30s or 40s. And they're going to be like, oh my God, I've missed the boat. I've missed it. Like, and that's how Lioness came out to be, is I was complaining at the fact that I've missed the boat, and the boat has gone, and the boat doesn't want you anymore because you're old, and because you're this and you're that, and you're thinking of all the reasons that you can't be what you want to be. And I want those little girls one day to just say, hey, bro, mom did it. She's in her 40s. She did it when she was in her 40s. And not just my little girls, but anybody else who's out there who's just like, it's over. It's too late for me. That is absolutely not the truth. That doesn't mean that it's going to happen on this scale. I'm very, very lucky for what's going on right now, but it can be on a smaller scale, and you're not on your timing most of the time. You're on God's timing. And if this would have happened to me in my 20s, I would not be exactly where I am right now, which is exactly where I want to be.
Well,
so I'm
speak to
happy
that a little
that
bit because, speak to that a little bit because, you had the concept of the idea of Lioness, and your husband with his military background explained what Lioness, maybe you can explain briefly what Lioness is for people who aren't familiar with what that is, not the show, but just the program, but also how your journey from hosting Wipeout to, Teen Wolf to being in Christmas movies got you to a place where you had the hunger and the desire to take a different direction and come up with this idea.
Yeah. I mean, Lioness started, literally the idea for the show started on our farm. We were having a bottle of whiskey and a bonfire kind of night. And it just so happened that I was complaining about, I thought it was too late for me to play the kind of role that I really, really thought that I could play. And I've kind of cornered I've kind of, when it comes to the girl next door, I've done that. I've played that. And I love that. And that role, those romantic comedies, I love doing that. But I wanted to play something deeper, and I wanted to play something that meant something to me. And the military is always, I grew up in a very patriotic family. My dad was a Marine, my uncle, my grandfather, just a long line of military. My husband is in the Army. So I wanted to pay homage to a group of people that I wanted to give my work meaning, like real deep meaning. And I've always wanted to say, I always say thank you for your service, which I always think is so lame. And they're like, okay. But I wanted to do something in my own way, something that I knew how to do to pay homage to these people and to salute them. And so it kind of married perfectly with the fact that I was going through something in my life that I felt like, oh, it's over. But then I still wanted to give respect to these people. And it really came about a conversation between my husband was like, well, look, why don't you create something? And I said, well, he said, what do you want to do? I said, I want to play someone in the military. And he was like, well, you got a husband in the military right now. Why don't you ask me some questions? So I just started with, tell me about the women that you worked with. And he was in military intelligence and had worked alongside a lot of really impressive women. He used to tell me stories. He's like, we would go interrogate these people, and I would in this village, and I would walk out with absolutely nothing. He's like, well, that was a waste of time. And then his counterpart would come out with like 3 pages of notes. She's like, what are you talking about? I got all this, so it's the difference of what females are able to pick up in certain places versus men. One's not better than the other. It just is different. And so, and then he started telling me about Lionesses, which was an actual program. I believe it started in the Marines, and it started because men weren't able to frisk women, but women were still coming through certain areas being strapped with bombs or whatnot. So it was really important that they frisk everyone. But in that culture, men couldn't frisk the women. So it really started, I believe, as just women being able to frisk the women that were coming in. And then it went a little more into, well, hey, who knows all the information in a village? The women. And the men couldn't talk to the women. So our soldiers couldn't talk to them and interrogate them, but other women could. So then it became a little more about the intelligence side. And then, Taylor, after hearing all of this from my husband, turned it into this incredible world in which it's kind of meshed with the CIA. And he's just a savant when it comes to these kind of worlds. And I knew that the next morning, my husband and I woke up slightly hungover, and we wrote a little treatment. And I was like, okay, I know the person we have to get this to. It's Taylor Sheridan, because I knew Taylor's writing, and he, oddly enough, just happened to be my acting coach when I was in my 20s. So I had that connection, because usually I don't think you could just call Taylor.
Right.
Get him on the phone. He's very hard to get a hold of.
Yeah.
So we called him and had about an hour-long conversation with him. And I remember he was like, well, I'd be honored if you guys would, let me pair up with you guys and write the show. And I'm like, yeah, let me think about it. Okay.
I'll take that time, right?
It was incredible. And so the journey, but it didn't end there. I mean, you think, okay, so that was it. No, it took like 5 years, and it took multiple calls to Taylor to make sure that he did not, because he has so much on his plate. And I remember a funny story. I couldn't get a hold of him, and it was like, I feel like I've been calling him for like a year, and I was like, look, I'm not letting this go. Like, this is a really important story. Like, I was trying to scare him. I was like, if you don't want it, then I'm going to get it to somebody else. And like, nothing. Finally, I knew his wife, because I had modeled with his wife a little bit in LA. And I called Nicole, and I was like, yeah, your husband he won't return my call. And I was thinking, I was like, who's more powerful than Taylor? It's his wife, right? Like, every man listens to his wife. Every smart man listens to his wife.
Yeah.
So I think it was less than 15 minutes. He called me back, and he was like, that was a low blow. I'm like, well, I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? You're not fighting fair. I'm not fighting fair. So after that, we got it made, but it just took a little bit of persistence, and
And that's going to be a clip on TikTok. Who's more powerful than Taylor Sheridan? His wife. That's perfect. It's a perfect 30 seconds.
So it's really, his wife kind of runs Hollywood now.
Yeah, that's
what it sounds like. I mean,
exactly.
Taylor's
No, I know Nicole. I've known her for quite some time, over 20 years, in and out our friend circles where we had mutual friends. But she's just a really, really, she's like Taylor's perfect counterpart, because she's super laid back. And I've always just really liked her, because I'm like, what woman is I mean, you have to be a certain kind of woman to deal with all of Taylor's his schedule and everything that he's got going on. I mean, it's, I also feel for her, because I actually told her, I was like, look, I appreciate you, because we have Taylor all the time. That means you don't,
Right.
And I think people forget that Taylor is not just this really great writer, director, producer, everything. He also is a father and a husband. So, I think at some point he'll probably slow down, and but right now he's a very busy man.
So we're talking to Jill Wagner, Lioness. We want to get to something cool you're doing on your farm, but first, we obviously live in a celebrity culture, and you have a concept that's turned into this mega show on Paramount Plus with Taylor Sheridan, with Yellowstone, Landman, Tulsa King. The list goes on and on. But we both love the show. A lot of people love Lioness season 2. You can watch it right now. You can stream all of season 1 on Paramount Plus and half of season 2 at this point. But as far as like Nicole Kidman and Morgan Freeman, I do know you have like a really interesting or kind of funny first meeting with Nicole Kidman on set that made the whole crew gasp.
Well, yeah, I mean, COVID was still a thing, so people were wearing masks, and it was different for COVID was different for me and my family because we live on a farm out here in East Tennessee, and there's 200 acres, and we just didn't wear masks, and we weren't traveling anywhere. We were just around ourselves. And in fact, by the way, I got COVID the first time from Taylor being on his ranch.
Oh, really?
I did. We all went to the rodeo, and I got home, and me and my husband had trailered our RV out there, and we came back, and he calls and he's like, "Hey, you feeling okay?" I was like, "Yeah, why?" He's like, "'Cause I believe I have COVID. I think everybody that was there might have COVID, and you're probably gonna get COVID." I was like, "Okay."
What better person to get COVID from than Taylor Sheridan?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I've probably had it like 50 times. So whatever. But at the time, it was still it was just a bit of a thing to certain people, and I can respect that. But I kind of forget because I'm a hugger, right? When I meet you for the first time, I'm likely to hug you, and that's can be kind of off-putting or weird for some people, but I also forget it's Nicole Kidman, and I just want to give her a big hug because I love that she's on our show, and I'm so appreciative, and it's only out of like honor and respect and true just like I just love you, thank you, of gratitude. And so I went up and I just gave her this big hug, and I could hear like there's a bit of like like people were like, the other actors and the people on set were just like, "Oh God, what's going to happen?" And she couldn't have been nicer. She just hugged me right back, and she was like, "Hey," she was just really, really kind. Nicole is she's oddly enough, she's just, I don't know what I was kind of expecting. I mean, she is Nicole Kidman. So there is an air that surrounds her, but that's not from her. That's from everybody's perception of what she is as a massive movie star. She's just elegant and beautiful and kind, and she'll ask you. My friend was there visiting me on set, and my friend's mother almost died, and she was in the hospital. And I was telling Nicole about that, and she was like, "Oh, give me your phone." And she did a little video for her mom, and I'm like, no one asked her to do that. And it was shocking to me, and it was so kind. And she's just a lovely human being. She really is.
Well, the cast is incredible. I mean, from you're in it, Morgan Freeman, Nicole Kidman, Zoe Saldana. I mean, the list goes on. Every time I watch a new episode, I'm like, he's in it, she's in it. It's really, really great. Now, transition real quick. Bo's an actor. He's had some movies or TV shows on HBO, Netflix, and
we've worked with some people together. Gary Wheeler. You've worked with Gary Wheeler.
Yes, Gary. I just talked to him the other day.
He's directed a few things I've done and produced a few things, Christmas movies, Hallmark Christmas movies. So yeah,
I love. Gary is one of my favorite people. He really is. Like he is so kind, and we have been trying to find that thing that I think he did one of the first Christmas movies, Christmas in the Smokies, that I had done. And we've been back and forth, and we're both like, what is that thing? What is the thing? So we're both looking for a script, and we're trying to find that script, that perfect script that we're going to work together.
Gary, he's directing and producing Blue Ridge, a TV show. And I was on that TV show with him last year, but yeah, so he's the best. So when I saw that you had worked with him, I'm like, I gotta definitely make sure you know Gary's the best.
You've both done Christmas movies, and then you're doing. You have before we're gonna get to the Christmas, the Merry Christmas night, Merry movie nights with her. But do you have any other acting questions?
I do actually.
I promise me can ask at least.
I wrote about 45 down, but I'm gonna skip to my my preference here. So you're also listed as executive producer, which for those who don't know, EP is the most weighted position on a show or a movie. Do people, when you're filming, ever come up to you for solutions for problems, or do they kind of defer to other folks on set for that, or is this like such a collaborative effort with Taylor? I'm curious about what kind of set he runs. You know, is it all through him? Is it all through other producers, or do people come to you say, hey, we don't know what to do with this?
Every single decision on Taylor Sheridan's set is Taylor Sheridan. Now that doesn't mean that he's not open to suggestions or that he's not collaborative with his directors, or because he doesn't direct every episode.
Right.
So he has put trust into the people that he surrounds himself with. You don't work for Taylor unless you understand that Taylor's vision is number one. We call the script the Bible. We literally, it's very simple. He's put everything on the page. So if you read the words on the page, that is what we film. That is, you don't go anything different. Now, Taylor, if he's there, he can do whatever he wants. He can change it. But, we just have to make sure as producers, like we just read and if it's not, if we're filming something that's not on that page, then there's a question, but really, to be honest with you, he hires, you've got Michael Freeman and Stephen Kay and Taylor were directing this year. I mean, they're all so close. They've all worked with him on Yellowstone and done so many other projects of his. He really tries to hire people that know his vision. So it's not a learning curve, because the reason these shows are so successful is because Taylor has a hand in everything, and it's Taylor's vision. It isn't Taylor's vision for the pilot and then other directors come in and it changes. That wouldn't work. It all has to maintain exactly what it's really like it's like following a recipe,
That's the best way to try to work. We have a script that's that good, and you have creators that are that trusting of people you're working with. That's the most fun, because then there's not a bunch of guesswork. There's not a bunch of 20 chefs in the kitchen. It's like, no, there is a God on set, and that's what you're asking. I do have another question. I need to get another question.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
What was who surprised you the most on set when you're working with them? Like, of all the people, they're like, this person surprised me the most with what they were doing, their technique, their method, or was it someone who like they blew you away, or someone who was like,
Yeah. There's a couple of people that now obviously everyone knows that everyone on there is an incredible actor.
Correct.
Thad Luckenbill, the guy that plays Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
I had never seen him before, and when he came in, I'm really, really drawn to super grounded actors.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that everybody else isn't phenomenal, because it needs all types. It needs the ones that, that do all the things. But Thad is so understated. He comes in and you forget like that he's such a good actor that it feels like he's just not acting. It just feels like he's just so grounded in that part, that I really respect that about him. There was no surprise that Zoe was going to crush the role for me. This year she is killing it this year. She's on a different heightened level. And that's because Joe, things have gotten better at home. It's a lot easier for a soldier to leave home when he's disconnected. But when you connect back into your family is the hardest thing for them to leave. The people that they feel that they love, and their children and their wife or their husband. So once you get plugged back into that network, and then you leave and you almost get killed, and you understand like what you're missing, that causes the anger and all the angst and the stuff that she's bringing up this season. I love that. But I will have to say,
level for like her intensity. It's
it's insane. Like I'll be on set with her and I'm just watching and I'm like, oh my God, dude. I'm like, you're gonna win an Emmy. I told her, I like called it. I was like, if you are not nominated for an Emmy, or if you don't win, then I quit. I quit.
No hope.
But the person that I really want everybody to know, because this person doesn't get a ton of screen time, but behind the scenes, I see what goes on, and it's not always edited in the way that I would like for it to be, because sometimes we lose the amount of chatter that he does, or the ad-libbing. But James Jordan, the guy that plays Two Cups,
Oh, he's great.
he is one of the best actors that I remember. The first scene we did was the bar fight scene, and where we came in and I threw the beer bottle. And those of you who don't know, my husband was the guy that I grabbed the bottle from in that scene. He had like a little cameo, but I remember I threw the beer bottle, and then James comes in and he just starts. Most of that ad-libbing did not make it, and I hated it because I was like, oh my God, that was so funny. He is the only person that Taylor will let ad-lib. Like a lot,
Wow.
most of the people have to follow the script. Not James. James can come up with the best ad-libs, and he is so flippin' funny. He actually farted in the scene when he was with me. We were having a conversation and he farted, and I was like, what? I mean, I stayed in it, but I was like, oh my God, I have to stay in it. Meaning I'm surrounded by your fart right now. Like, this is so gross. But he does things and you're just like, wow. I mean, I kind of wish we had a whole break-off show with like Bobby and Two Cups. I'm going to be honest with you, because he's just he's such a good actor. And you'll see him again on Landman. He's in every single one of them.
I've watched, what's that?
Yeah, he also said you need to watch Landman.
I was like, Landman is perfect too. I mean, again, Taylor, I'm the biggest fan of Taylor. So like, it's just remarkable what he's been able to do. He does, in my opinion, run the game nowadays. I mean, no one's touching the caliber of consistency that this guy brings to everything, from his casting to, of course, the stories to, like, it's so immersive. Everything is so real and grounded from start to finish.
And I also want to remind people that everyone said no to him with Yellowstone. And I remember when I was talking to people I was trying to pitch a Western as well way back then, and no one would touch Westerns. Everybody was like, now the Suits, the people that you think know everything,
right,
were the ones who were saying, no, nobody wants it. Nobody's going to watch it. No, they didn't want it. But they don't listen to what America wants, right? What those flyover states, what do they want? And I think Taylor has a good grip on what that is and what people want to see from those states. And he just does it in such an amazing, raw way. And it's something that you haven't seen on television in a very long time, if ever. And so I just want to remind people that, like, everyone said no to him. And it was David Glasser at 101 Studios who was like, look, okay, let's try this. And then they were able to create what you see as Yellowstone. But Taylor Sheridan even had problems getting that made. Now we see it and you're like, gosh, who could ever say no to that? There's a lot of people that say no to that. So in giving advice to other actors, and I had a really interesting story with actually Ashton Kutcher, one of my first jobs. He had hired me for Punk'd, and I did Punk'd, and then I booked a show called The North Shore, and I went off and shot the pilot, and then a lot of people got fired and they reshot the pilot. So the director, Peyton Reed, I got fired. There was a lot of people that got fired, and I got all depressed about that. And I was like, God, maybe this acting thing is just not for me. And I think Ashton got wind of that. And I was driving down Mulholland one day, and I picked up the phone, and Ashton was like, hey, you got a second? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, I just want to tell you a story. He said, I came out to Hollywood and I booked 2 shows. And he was like, one was a comedy, one was not. One was some NBC and one was, another network, whatever it was, 2 networks. And he was like, I was trying to decide which one I wanted to do. And the one that was the drama, they called my agents and they were like, look, he's not funny. So if he doesn't choose this show, he's going to ruin his career. Like, that's the wrong choice. Well, the other show was That 70s Show.
Wow.
Asked him with his gut. He chose That 70s Show, which was a massive, massive hit. And he made a whole career out of it. And so he was like, my point in telling you that story is, don't listen to the Suits. He was like, so don't listen to the people that thought you were wrong for that. Keep going. Just keep hustling. And I have always taken that piece of advice. It has stuck with me for the longest time. And I don't even think he knows this. I've never told him what that piece of advice did to me, but it really helped me, because I was like, if they're telling Ashton Kutcher that, then you know what I mean? Like he's clearly fun.
Like here, I mean, it's good to hear this when you see, actors or, celebrities. It's nice to hear these stories. Well, one, no one makes anything, or no one is like instant success. I mean, it's rare. And so like, you've been doing it for 20 years. Taylor Sheridan was turned down everywhere he went for a long time, especially with Yellowstone. And then Ashton Kutcher. But I like that not being self-centered and keeping all this information for himself, he inspired you, which kept you going. And now your career and your family's life, your kids' life will be changed forever because of your hard work, but also because people are giving of themselves to say, hey, don't give up. It could be easy for him to hear that story and be like, oh, whatever, I'm not going to say anything. But he felt it was important to tell you, and it's impacted you.
It changed it. I'm not saying that I would have left, but it did help me for sure. Did I lose you guys? I think I lost you guys. I'm on here. I'm doing this podcast by myself, by the way, guys. Hold on.
All right, you there?
Are you guys still on there?
Our internet, I guess, in the studio. But anyway, we're still going. Sorry about that.
That's okay. But yeah, to your point, I think it's really important that people, when they hear something about someone else and they have a piece of advice or a piece of knowledge that can help them, it can change someone's total trajectory of their life. And that little piece of advice, like that little moment where he was like, hey, I don't have much time, but I just want to tell you this story. I was like, where is this going? Like, what? Especially when he was like, I was offered 2 shows. I'm like, great, buddy. Well, I was just fired from one. So thanks for your advice.
Well, the old saying, suits are replaceable, but talent, isn't. Suits will come and go, but true talent, undeniable talent, it rises to the top. So, I mean, I think that's what he saw in you. And obviously he had the same thing, whereas, suits can be replaced each and every day, and they are. So,
well, Lioness, huge hit.
Oh,
we love it. Thank you, Bo, for telling me about it. Now, you can watch it at Paramount Plus. Again, full season 1 is there. Half of season 2 basically is there. Sunday, you can watch it on Sunday. It is a great show, and your character Bobby is sensational.
Phenomenal.
Love it. I seriously love Bobby so much.
Thank
Again, I didn't know it was you until after I saw the credits. I'm like, oh my gosh.
But anyway. You know what? That's a huge, huge compliment because that was the thing with Taylor. He was like, I have to make sure that people don't see Hallmark. When they look at you, they see a whole different, not that there's anything wrong with what I was doing with Hallmark or Great American Family. Those are totally I was right for that, but I am an actor. And that was where the hair had to come into play. That was where I worked out for 2 years to get the body that you saw on season 2. So I've been working out since then. Oddly enough, I got a new role in the TV show Homestead that's going to be coming out. The movie is going to be coming out in theaters on December 20th. It's called Homestead with Angel Studios. And now we shot the TV show after that. And so I had to lose all of that because I play a pregnant therapist. And so I'm just bouncing around with my physique. But
you worked with Bailey Chase on that, didn't you?
Yeah, I just talked to Bailey yesterday. Yes, he's such a lovely human being.
He is. He's the best. Yeah, he's North Carolina boy. We worked together on Country is Christmas, the movie that Gary's actually executive producer on. So, yeah, that's funny. Bailey's the best.
Great. He's
great. So you're both actors. Well, all of us are actors here, but these 2 actors cut Christmas movies. Now you're doing something really cool on your farm in Tennessee where people can actually come and watch a movie that you're in on your farm and have this over-the-top Christmas experience. Let people know how, first of all, about it, and then how people can get tickets. Because I did take a look at your farm. There's some videos of your farm on your social media, and I'm like, my girlfriend was like, is there any way we can go on December 13th or 14th to this awesome event?
Yes, bring your girlfriend. You get major points, dude.
Yeah, for real.
Major points.
We need to go. And I'm like, it's not that far of a drive. Let's do it.
It's not. So it's something that we came up with because I was like, look, we have this great place that we live, and we live in this little small town that is very, very picturesque and everything you think of when you think of, these sweet little Christmas movies. And You know, I'm an entrepreneur. Like, I have always been like that. I went to college for marketing. I've just always kind of been, that's the other side of Jill. And I also really wanted to open our farm to certain things, especially when they're charity driven. So we're pairing with Toys for Tots to do this for Merry Movie Night. And we're also giving a portion to the Helene victims, which was devastating, as you guys, I'm sure know. So what we're doing is we're opening up the farm, and we have different kinds of ticketing. We have like VIP tickets where you get to come, and I'm going to host you in my newly built cottage. Oh, I love this cottage so much. It's actually going to be available to rent on Airbnb and possibly on our website after that. But so I finished this cottage. I'm going to take you around, show it to you. We're going to play little Christmas games. I've got live music in there, a little bit of food, a little bit of drinks, just conversations, some gifts. That's a VIP package. And then the other packages are just, I've got a big tent, a heated tent set up. You're going to watch the movie with me. But before that, we get hay rides up to Santa. Santa, which is my dad. Let's just be honest. Santa's my dad. But he is the best Santa Claus that there has ever been. And I've begged him for so long to be Santa Claus, and he's finally agreed. So we've got pictures with Santa. We've got, that's where you're going to bring your toy please bring a toy for Toys for Tots. If you give a toy, you get to be entered into this little contest where you win like this great gift basket with all kinds of stuff in it. So there's that. There's, we're going to have food trucks. We're going to have like, Christmas cookies. There's all kinds of sweet treats. There's, Scott Mansion Farm merch there. We're going to have to pick up tomorrow these amazing big fire pits that my friend is making, and they've got American flags. They're awesome. We're going to have fire pits with s'mores. There's hot cocoa bar. Just every little thing that I think that makes a little Christmas event like that special. We've lit up the farm. And so we're just inviting people to come. There's going to be a question and answer with me, and I hope Jesse Hutch, I know he's a busy man, so I'm trying to get him here. We're just having issues because he's also promoting Homestead, which is the movie that he's in. So I'm going to bring him here, hopefully, and we're going to do a question and answer after the movie, which I think is interesting because usually you don't get to do that when you watch a movie. You don't get to talk to the actors and, you know, any questions that you may have. I've also got a few little surprises for the people that are coming, but yeah, that's it. It's just a really good family-friendly event.
Obviously, Christmas is important to you, and it's important to, I think, everybody. Everyone loves Christmas. And so Christmas to me, as I get older, is about memories, especially making memories with my kids and loved ones. And what a better memory than this, than to not only, yeah, you said most people can't watch a movie and then ask the actors questions afterwards. They also can't be on their property and have a magical Christmas all at the same time. And and it's December 13th and 14th, right?
It's December 13th and 14th. The VIP package, I believe, starts at like 4. So you're here a whole hour before the other people are. And that is a special thing just with me and them in the cottage. And then the other people, I believe, will arrive at 5. And then the movie starts at, I should probably get my time straight, like 7:30-ish. We also are going to do a tree lighting. We go on our property every year and cut down a tree. So we'll have a tree lighting. There'll be a Bible verse read. So yeah, some cool things.
That's awesome. And by the way, you can get the information on how to get tickets on your social media, just Jill Wagner. But also we have on the scroll or the ticker at the bottom of this has been scrolling the whole time, the website where you can go as well. And we'll obviously, when we post this on social media, we'll put a link directly so people get tickets, because it's a once in a lifetime Christmas experience. Merry Movie Nights. How awesome with Jill Wagner. I think it's great. Well, Jill, we've taken a lot of your time. Thank you so much. You know, I met you 14 years ago. I was like the 5th man on a morning show. And then then to see your progress and to see you have so much success, it makes me so happy because you've worked for it and you've earned it. And we get to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Bo told me about it. My girlfriend loves it. And then I'm a big fan of Lioness, but I've been a fan of yours. Anyone who risk a lot and put themselves in situations that aren't common, which coming out of Winston-Salem or out of Kernersville is not common. So you're doing the uncommon, and I'm just really proud of you and your success, and it's inspiring. It truly is inspiring.
Well, I'm proud of you and your success because obviously you've moved up the chain as well. I mean, you have your own podcast. This is pretty cool.
And he's the host of the morning show now, actually.
And you're the host of the morning show.
And it's syndicated now.
Which is amazing. I mean, that's incredible. Congratulations. That's awesome.
I'm the Taylor Sheridan of the morning show.
That's what people say.
Katie will kill me. Katie's like, yeah, right. But seriously, you're the best, and we can't wait to see what else happens in your career. And then I'm going to do everything I can to tell all my friends and everyone I know so they can come support this movie night. It's going to be incredible on your property there in Tennessee.
Yeah, and also just to let people know, because I know a lot of people are like, where do we stay? And you guys live in this little town. There's cabins everywhere. Tellico Mountain cabins or something like that. I should probably know. But if you just Google, there's tons of little cabins right on the river. There's also like in downtown, there's a little bed and breakfast. There's places to stay here, and you can make a night out of it.
I thought all the people coming were sleeping in your place. That's not. That
is like
back. I thought that's what we were doing.
I don't know if her husband like that, but I did tell Bo that he could stay in your guest room, but I don't know.
Just in a sleeping bag, just right.
Totally. Hey, I got a barn or two you guys could stay in.
Sleep on some hay. Jill, you are a rock star. Keep crushing it. We love seeing everything you're doing, and you making North Carolina proud.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate your time.
All right. Bye, Jill.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
That was awesome.